Hello fragrance family, welcome to Fragrance Therapy. I'm your host Alim, and there are a few Middle Eastern fragrance houses that deserve their own top 10 list. I've already done one for Aromatix, which I'll link on the screen somewhere. Next one after this is going to be Latafa, but today let's do my favorite Middle Eastern house, and that's French Avenue / Fragrance World. So let's jump in. At the number 10 spot, we have Atlantis Extrait, and this is a refreshing tropical aquatic fragrance that's all about the sweet watermelon accord. This is an amazing take on Room 1015's Wave Child. I finally got a sample of Wave Child at Scent Explorer in New York, and this one gets really darn close. Citruses, that aforementioned watermelon. There's this subtle coconut, but it's not overpowering. I personally don't like really strong coconut fragrances, but it is subtly used here. There's also this really soft creaminess in this that really blunts some of the sharp edges. Also, this being an extrait de parfum, performance is good, especially for a freshie. So why is it so low on the list? Look, I like smelling this thing at home, but it does lean a little bit too feminine for me to rock this on a regular basis. I might experiment with layering this in the warmer months with something else. Great option for the ladies though. Love the scent profile, I just can't see myself rocking it regularly. At my number 9 spot, we have first of 2 Aromatix releases from this year, and this one is Magnetiq. It is a modern, clean, versatile blue fragrance that really leans into like a fresh soapy accords, but it also does it with a creamy floral twist. This will remind you of fragrances like YSL Myself, and especially Almaz's Reflection Man. It opens with this extremely bright freshness, but then it does dry down into like this clean, slightly powdery white floral and vanilla scent. If you like clean laundry and fresh out the shower scent profiles, this is a killer option. Perfect for everyday wear, especially in the warmer weather. This is going to be a go-to office scent for me when the spring rolls around because it just screams clean and really well put together. Fantastic release from Aromatix. Next up, we have the only release that came out from the fragrance world side of the house, and that's Jazz Notes. And this is an incredible dupe of Goldfield & Banks Silky Woods. And I do own a bottle of the OG, and while this one does lack some of the depth and some of the quality of the OG, this still gets really darn close at a fraction of the price. It's a rich, sensual amber vanilla fragrance, warm and spicy with cinnamon and saffron. There's also this smooth suede that's not overly strong or animalic, but the dry down, man, amazing blend of vanilla, smoky tobacco, and this warm sandalwood. And when people hear suede and tobacco, they might think extremely dark scent profile, but this is not that. This is extremely wearable, I would say even unisex, elegantly blended. The biggest issue with this one has been performance. I would say overall it's just average. Look, the fragrance world side of the house typically gives more budget-friendly options, but trust me, this one does not at all come off cheap. I think it's an excellent release, and hopefully we see some more Goldfield & Banks dupes from this house. At the number 7 spot, we have Iris and Patchouli, and this is supposedly a dupe of a very expensive discontinued Carolina Herrera fragrance called Iris Empire. And it makes sense because this thing comes off very artistic and niche smelling. A sophisticated, earthy, and powdery scent profile. It balances that lipsticky iris with this dark yet smooth leather and patchouli base. It's a very high-end smelling scent for sure. Not blind buy safe. I know that there's people that just can't take that lipsticky iris, and this one definitely leans into that note. But if you like Iris, this is a must add to your collection. Excellent performance, perfect for formal occasions in the colder weather. Again, great stuff, high quality, but maybe not for everybody. From here on out, they're all 10 out of 10s. But next up, we have Fierte Luna. And in my estimation, this is the closest, highest quality, and overall best dupe of Xerjoff's Naxos. Really, the only thing holding this back a bit is the price. It's $50, but you're only getting a 80 ml. But besides that, it perfectly captures the signature lavender, honey, and tobacco profile of the OG. It comes off sophisticated and bright, but still also gives this cozy vibe. It opens with aromatic blasts of citrus, lavender, then it settles into that thick golden honey sweetness. The dry down is where that smooth, creamy vanilla tobacco kicks in, and it makes it feel very expensive and very high-end. Excellent performance as well. Common theme amongst all these releases. One that's perfect for dressing up. Now, there have been other clones of this Naxos DNA that give you better value, but if you're looking for simply the best take on Naxos, in my opinion, it's this one. I don't know why Naxos has gotten kind of a bad rap recently. I think this is my favorite Xerjoff fragrance. At the midway spot, we have Royal Blend Sequoia. And this is a clone of Killian's Angel Share parody. And honestly, I just enjoy this DNA more than the OG Angel Share. On top of that, this thing is a damn good take on parody. Opens with this boozy, tart raspberry liqueur. That is really the standout note here. Then it definitely does transition into the more traditional Angel Share DNA, but it just adds something to that profile that just makes it more wearable to me. It's syrupy, it's woody, it's very gourmand, and I love the raspberry note in here. Powerful stuff too, excellent performance, and overall I think this is just a more interesting wearable take on that Angel Share DNA. Completely unisex as well. Another killer winter fragrance that you can dress up. And also this is my favorite in the Royal Blend line. There have been a ton of parody clones this year, but I still think this is the best one. Next up is another great addition to the Vulcan line, and that's Vulcan Black Friday edition. Definitely a bold, dark masculine release that is inspired by Tony Iommi's Deified. I love its intensity, its complexity. That complexity comes in this rich blend of booziness and fruit with apple and rum, spicy cinnamon, and this heavy leather. Also this soft rose note that gives it a bit of elegance. I love that this is a total 180 from the rest of the Vulcan line, and being a Tony Iommi inspired fragrance, this definitely has a bit of a rock and roll edge. Another incredible performer. This is maybe the strongest in this entire lineup that I have here. Definitely not blind buy safe, but I personally love it. But look, if you like leathery dark fragrances that have an elegance to them, I think this is a great option. Smells so good. I'm spraying on right now. At the number 3 spot, we have the second Aromatix on the list, and this one is Sunkissed, and this was my favorite of the new Aromatix releases this year. Opens with this burst of tart, juicy citrus from pomelo, bergamot, and bitter orange. Shines in the mid with the sparkling, creamy soda accord. I get like Sprite with ice cream in it. Also some tea, some cardamom, and of course vanilla. Nice woody base that gives it some depth and longevity as well. Good performance for a freshie. Let's see how it matures as we get into the warmer months. Another one that I feel is completely unisex. Some people say it leans masculine. I don't think so. I think women can pull it off just fine. Gonna be an incredible warm weather fragrance. I really like all of the new Aromatix releases except for one. Also have Naughty Dates on the way. Can't wait to try that. And then when Frostbite comes out, I'm gonna be one of the first to get that as well, hopefully. The next two are neck and neck, but one was a warm weather fragrance, whereas the other one is for cooler days. Let's start with the warmer weather winner, and that is Vulcan Fue. And this is of course a clone of Stefan Humbert Lucas's God of Fire. And God of Fire might be the most cloned fragrance of 2025, but in my opinion this is the best one, and it doesn't even come close. Because what this does, it embraces the somewhat challenging notes of God of Fire. Most of the other dupes lean into that juicy mango sweetness and tone down some of that spicy depth. This one leans unapologetically into Feu, which is fire in French. Spicy ginger infused heat that balances with this heavy mango fruitiness. It also doesn't shy away from the oud, though the oud in here is not animalic, and it does all this better than any of the 100 clones of God of Fire that came out this last year. Excellent performance for a freshie and one of my most complimented fragrances from this past summer. And on top of all that, this is way stronger than the OG. I have smelt the OG and I actually prefer this one. If you're looking for just one warm weather fragrance for this upcoming spring and summer, this is the one you want to go with. My number one is not going to be on many lists, and I don't care. I never follow trends. I go with what I feel. And the number 1 spot goes to French Avenue's Access. And this is their take on Byredo's Vanilla Antique. And this thing is amazing and probably the most underrated fragrance of the year. Deep, woody, and resinous fragrance with the standout note being this dark, mature, and slightly smoky vanilla. You also get these beautiful notes of freesia, plum, woods, along with amber and labdanum. And of course, along with that prominent aforementioned vanilla accord. Excellent formal event or special occasion fragrance that really shines in the colder weather. Amazing performance here as well. One of the longest lasting, most projecting, and most compliment fragrances on this list. And here's the kicker. I drove an hour away to finally get my nose on the OG, and they are very, very close, but I actually prefer this one. The OG does come off a little bit more elegant, a little bit more refined, but this one is slightly darker and more masculine take on that DNA. And I don't know how the OG performs, but I doubt it could perform any better than this. For some reason, this one just captures my senses. Just incredible stuff that didn't get nearly enough attention. And because there's no hype surrounding this, I'm a bit worried that they might discontinue it after these current batches run out. So I'm definitely going to pick up a backup bottle. So there you have it, folks. My top 10 from my favorite fragrance house from the Middle East, and that's French Avenue / Fragrance World. Fragrances are never blind buy safe. So these are just my opinions. Let me know in the comments if I left something that you really love off the list. Also, please hit that like and subscribe button. I want to keep bringing you this type of content, and the only way I can continue is if you guys subscribe. For anybody that's already subscribed, thank you very much. It really means a lot. And as always, stay tuned for more honest fragrance content. Until next time, I'm out.